I got low battery, but I want to see if I can fit this in. It's come to my attention that some of the comments on my YouTube channel have been, well, let's just say, politically partisan. I'll say I appreciate all the comments, even though I might not like some of them. They add to the conversation. I want to make it clear, though, that from the start, I've said this is a bipartisan issue. And so if you want to call me a liberal or a neocon or an idiot or whatever, that's okay. But let me say, I have spoken about both political parties and their take on criminal justice. And both political parties embrace the concept of tough on crime. You know, from Hillary Clinton's comment on young black men being super predators to H.W. Bush hammering Michael Dukakis in the presidential campaign over Willie Horton. So I'm not going to go into details. You can look it up. But if you're a conservative and you embrace incarcerating as many people as possible, well, how are you going to pay for that? Taxpayers will, regardless of whether it's privatized prisons or public prisons. It's expensive to do that. And in many cases, it accomplishes little. Also, I've talked about prosecutors being elected, and their main tool for getting reelected is to be tough on crime and tout their record for how many people they have incarcerated. So instead of being ministers of justice, they're subjugating the system and hiding the truth, because no truth comes out when there's plea deals in, and almost around 95% of criminal cases now are decided with plea deals. I could go on, but just hear me out. This is a political issue, certainly, but both parties are part and parcel of the current mess that we're in now, wherein the truth gets buried and it becomes way too easy to incarcerate an innocent person and way too difficult to get them out once they are incarcerated. I hope you'll listen to the content of what I have to say and do your research, and let's see if we can make a difference, because Charles doesn't deserve to be in prison for 30 years for a crime he did not commit. And I'll finish with that. My battery's about dead. This is my drinking partner, at the water tank. So I got a bag of water. It looks pretty good, actually. Looks like I got my work cut out for me this afternoon. I'm presently at about 4,000 feet, or between 4,000 and 5,000 feet, and I'm supposed to hit 8,000. So looking around me, looks like one of those mountains in the distance will probably hit 8,000 feet, and I see cell towers on one. So we're at a slightly higher elevation, and there's some different kinds of plants. One of the interesting ones for me are these junipers or cedars, and they have a really strange bark. They have kind of a mosaic square pattern. I'll see if I can find a tree that is a good example. And also I see some stumps, or I did back there, that were truly massive for trees of this type, and they look like they were very old and fairly rot resistant. So I think it was those cedars, and why they cut them down, I don't know. Maybe there was a fire and it killed them. Yeah, this one is pretty good. So you see, they're kind of square, patchy things, and most cedars or junipers that I know have kind of long, stringy bark. So this is something unique. So this is my 4th day on the Continental Divide Trail, and I've seen hikers off to the side either tenting or resting, but I've yet to see a hiker on the trail. And that's kind of the nature of this calendar year Triple Crown thing. It is a solitary event because I'm hiking longer periods of time, especially for me. The younger guys doing it, younger guys and gals, they can go fast and get a lot of miles in a much shorter time, and I cannot do that to save my soul. So I just try to be safe and put in the hours it takes to bag the miles. Well, I have been cowboy camping while in New Mexico since the weather has been so clear, and there have been very few bugs, although I see a few moths flying around right now. So this is my camping spot for tonight. If it does come a big rain, the water should come down through there and miss me, but I don't think it's going to rain. Anyhow, the first thing I do is I lay out my Tyvek ground cloth that I use for my tent, and then I put my pad down, and to show you how lazy a camper I am, I have this little pump. It weighs 1.2 ounces. So what I do, let's see, I'm going to have to set up my little tripod because I can't do this with one hand and film. Sorry for the technical problems. So this has a little rubber attachment. Make sure that's unhooked. Just slip that over the nozzle. Hit the little button twice. And it will blow it up in a couple of minutes. So when it's done, you can hear a change in the pitch. I just close the valve and then pull it off and turn it off. And boy, does that save a lot of time. I used to use a bag and slip it over here, and that was always a kind of an irritation. So once I get my mat ready, I've got my pillow, I'll get my sleeping bag out, and then I cook. Well, I made the big climb and I was right. It was that cell tower mountain. So that was a long afternoon. Made it over the top and camped a little bit on the way down. But now my major concern is water. So I had topped off. There was a water cache at one point before I started a big climb. So all my bottles were filled. And the thing is, to cook takes a liter, and I drink. And breakfast takes some because I can't eat dry oats. And so, plus I'm hiking now, but the water sources I've hit have been what they term intermittent, and anything intermittent right now is dry. So the next best bet is a stock tank fed by a spring, and it's 14 miles from here. So that'll be a 5 or 6 hour hike. It was very cool, down to 45 last night, so that's been a help. But the sun is out in full force now, and there's not a cloud in the sky, so it's likely to warm up a good bit. So if that stock tank is dry and I don't find another water cache, I'll be in trouble. And not sure what else I could do. I already carry about close to 10 pounds of water at full capacity. So I've still got maybe a liter and a half, and I'll try to drink that sparingly. Good news, trail fans. There was a water cache at the Red Rocks trailhead. So whoever took the time to do that, I so thank you. I was going to be in trouble without that. What a relief. There were probably about 15 gallons of water there in jugs, and it was even, whoever did it took the time to say that it was filtered well water, so no need to refilter. And just many thanks. I don't know why you do that, but it sure helped me out a lot and took a lot of stress away from me. I'm pushing on to Silver City. I'll either get there late this evening or early in the morning. I don't know which. Looking forward to my resupply. Also, these shoes have over 700 miles on them, so I'll have some new shoes waiting for me. When I bought these, the guy at the store said, you know that these only last for 300 miles. So they're not even a month old. The soles are almost bald. It feels like I'm walking on cardboard soles. I can feel every piece of gravel on the trail. I'm taking the luxury of a little break for dining for lunch. Ooh, here's a mess. And I found the perfect place to sit, I thought. It's a pretty big stump. The problem is I threw my hat down and now there are ants all over it. So I'm rethinking my location and I'll probably move on. Those ants would not be a fun addition. In case anyone's interested, this area I'm in now is the Saddle Rock Riparian Restoration Area, and it's a remarkably rugged place. A lot of our parks and public lands are public because they had little value to anyone. They were remote, pretty inaccessible. They weren't suitable for agriculture. They were just away from all the main cultural areas and economic areas. So there were many reasons why they were sort of set aside and neglected. And then one day somebody woke up and said, hey, this is wilderness and it has value. I think in a lot of ways you could compare that to lots of the people in prison. I know this seems like a stretch, but they are people that, by and large, and it sounds like I'm making excuses for them, they know right from wrong, and a lot of them in prison are there because they need to be. But there's a lot of them too that just were brought up under really horrible circumstances, and they are kind of like the equivalent of our wilderness. Nobody saw any value in them, so when a crime was committed, it was a pretty easy step to just ramrod it through. And I don't know, I see the value in a lot of them. I mean, innocent people shouldn't be in prison. I don't think the farmer takes kindly to coyotes. I doubt this one died a natural death. But I'm sure they're there to prey on the calves, so you can hardly blame them. And there are lots of coyotes around. I hear them about every other night, and I've actually only seen one. I mean, one live one. But I know they're around. Their scat is on the trail. I don't know why they like to use that for a bathroom, but they do. So it's been an interesting valley. Classic example of overgrazing. But the cattle look healthy for the most part. And there were a lot of calves, so their farmer must be doing something right. Or do you call him a rancher? I don't know. Beautiful rock formations. So it's a sad day. It's time to retire a pair of shoes that served me well. These are Ultra Temps here. You can see that the tread on the bottom is almost worn down. It's almost smooth. And they offer very little support against rocks anymore. This is the insole, and I was having problems with blisters on the side of my ankle right above my heel, and I finally figured out what was doing it. This insole is cupped, you can see, and the edge of the insole right along here was coming up and rubbing the side of my ankle. So I took a knife and cut this part out, and it solved the problem. I had been having persistent blister problems along there for the last several hundred miles, and that's all it was to trim that. So I've got some new shoes, and I'm ready to hit the trail, but these served me well. I got 740 miles out of it in less than a month, and it's time to retire them. The CDT is not known for trail magic, but boy, so far it's been better for me than the AT and the PCT. First, those water caches were wonderful, and then as I was going into Silver City, there's a long road walk, and I had to pick up my package at the post office, and it was close to closing time. And so this couple, Judy and John, picked me up, and they took me to the post office. And not only that, they waited, and when I got out of the post office, they took me to my motel. So just wonderful. And Judy asked me if I could give her a hug. Woo. I said I'm kind of stinky, but I would be delighted to. So and then there was a mix-up, and I was actually at the wrong hotel, so I had to walk 1.8 miles carrying my resupply box. It was a little much. And a guy saw me who works for the Forest Service, and he stopped and said, "Do you need a lift?" And he took me right to the proper motel. So, way to go, New Mexico! One thing I learned today is that quail will remain still and think they're hidden until you're right upon them. And at that point, they will burst up into the air in different directions. After which, you may just have to head for some bushes and a discreet place to change into a new pair of pants. I am nearing the Gila River alternate, and for me it's just stunning the way these landscapes change. I mean, wow, from the flat desert to just look at those rock formations. It's just so cool. You never know what's going to be around the corner. And Sure makes it interesting. Had a great night's sleep. I stayed at a place. There's all different kinds of places you can set up your tent along trails. I've done it on snow, sand, dirt, but last night was on pine needles, which is probably the gold standard of tenting surfaces. I guess I could have cowboy camped too, but I've got a new sleeping bag. It's not new, but it's new for this trip. And it's much lighter weight, so the tent helped keep me warm. But I'm curious to see what it's like along the Gila River. That's about as close as I want to get. That thing is really rattling, but you can't hear it very well over the water. Yikes, that is scary. I don't know how many times I've crossed this river, but it's probably close to 20. And this spot is pretty shallow and wide. So this should be one of the easier crossings that I have. It's funny, I cross the river and my shoes get all clean. And then going up the bank usually, it's a lot of dirt and they turn immediately in the mud. But this is gravel, so maybe it'll stay clean. Nope, they're going to get dirty. That's okay, I'll cross the river again and they'll get clean. The trail is right over there, and you can see why you have to cross the river so many times. There's this huge bank. That would be a pain to have to walk up to the top of that and then back down. So instead, we cross the river. I'm doing just that. In places they have cairns, these rock piles to mark the trail, which is really nice. They're still working on finalizing a lot of the trail. There's another cairn. It's a beautiful little valley. I wish you could walk the whole thing with me, but you might not like getting your feet wet. And I'm not sure, it looks like we're crossing back over again. Let's see, yep. Doc Campbell's is a legendary stop on the CDT. I'm going to make it brief. I want to see if I can make a phone call. They supposedly have Wi-Fi. This is it. You can camp here, showers. They have a resupply. They're currently closed. I hope they have their Wi-Fi on. We'll see. Well, my river walk, I think, is over. I'm on a road. Doc Campbell's was closed, but it's amazing to see these rock formations over there. They almost look sculpted. I've got a 3-mile hike to the visitor information center for the cliff dwellings, and I may try to camp there. I hope the police don't come, but I'll try to be discreet about it, and I'll be gone before it's light in the morning. But there are not a lot of options for camping, because I think a lot of this is private land, and I sure don't want to camp on private land.